Hello, children. Today we will start with a new lesson in history. It is lesson number 8, the First Empire. Okay, what is meant by the word empire? Empire means an extensive group of states or countries which is ruled by king or queen. So, empire means a large area, that is, an extensive group of states or countries which is ruled by king or queen. In this lesson, we will study about the first empire in India. Learning objectives. In this lesson, we shall study about Alexander's efforts to conquer India, the Mauryan Empire, the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. Reign means it is the period of rule of an king or queen. Next, we will study about the rule of Bindusara, the reign of Ashoka. During the period of Ashoka, we shall also study about the battle of Kalinga war, and we will also study about the edicts of Ashoka. Edicts means the command or instructions. And finally, we will study about the Mauryan administration. Okay, children? Shall we start the lesson? Yes. The prevailing situation. By around 323 BCE, Magadha, the major Indian kingdom of that time, was ruled by a king who was unpopular among his people. So, during the period, that is around 323 BCE, BCE means before Christ era, the Magadha kingdom was one of the major kingdom at that time, and that kingdom became unpopular among the people. As the people did not have any faith over the rulers were gradually losing the control over the people and the kingdom. Foreign invaders started to enter our country and they started to invade our states. Alexander, who was a very ambitious Greek king, started to invade our country. So, Alexander was a Greek king and he had already captured many places in many countries and he was progressing towards India. Alexander's effort to conquer India. As we have already studied, Alexander is a Greek king and he started to invade our country. Alexander entered our country, India, through the Hindu Kush mountains. On his way to India, he underwent many battles and he conquered many places. During the period of 326 BCE, Alexander had crossed the Indus River. There he met the king of Takshashila. King Takshashila kingdom is located near Islamabad, which is the capital city of the modern day Pakistan. The king Takshashila welcomed Alexander and he also helped the king Alexander to conquer the king Porus. As the king Alexander underwent many battles, his soldiers were very tired and they never want to fight anymore. So therefore Alexander left the conquered territories on the west of Indus River under the control of his general, that is the governor Seleucus Nicator, and Alexander returned to Greece. In the year 323 BCE, Alexander died at Babylon. After the death of Alexander, there was a gradual decline of his empire. During this chaotic means the period of confusion. During this period of confusion, a new leader called Chandragupta Maurya emerged. He became the founder of the first empire of India, which is the Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire. Chanakya, also known as Kautilya, was the teacher in Takshashila. When Alexander came from west to annex the surrounding territories, the kings of Takshashila and Gandhara became allies of Alexander. Allies means they became cooperative in nature with Alexander. But Chanakya did not like this. He wanted to defeat Alexander. So he asked the help of other kings. First, he asked the help of the king Porus, who was the king of Punjab. But King Porus was defeated by Alexander at the Battle of the Hydaspes River. Later, Chanakya asked the help of Dhanananda, who ruled the vast Nanda Empire. The Nanda Empire extended from Bihar and Bengal in the east to Punjab and Sindh in the west. So the whole region from the east, that is from Assam to Punjab, comes under the rule of the king Dhanananda, and that kingdom is known as the Nanda Empire. Chanakya asked the help of his disciple Chandragupta to build an empire that could protect the Indian territories from foreign invasion. Chandragupta also, at the age of 20 itself, he overthrew the king Dhanananda. That is, he defeated the king Dhanananda and he took over the kingdom during the period of 321 BCE. So therefore, Chandragupta, during the period of 321 BCE, with the direct support of the genius of Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya founded the Maurya dynasty. The reign of Chandragupta Maurya, that is the period of Chandragupta Maurya. We have already studied that Chandragupta Maurya is the disciple of Chanakya. So on the advice of Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya formed the Mauryan dynasty. Chandragupta Maurya's first major challenge was Seleucus Nicator. Seleucus Nicator was the general of Alexander. In 305 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya and Seleucus Nicator fought a battle, and this battle ended with the peace treaty. That is, they signed a treaty and it is called as the peace treaty. So therefore, according to this treaty, Seleucus gave all the territories which Alexander conquered. So therefore, the Mauryan Empire now extended over an extremely large area, about 50 lakh square kilometers. Thus, Chandragupta Maurya started to conquer many territories. So therefore, the Mauryan dynasty extended its rule from the north along the natural boundaries of Himalayas, and to the east, stretching into Assam, and to the west, it reached beyond Pakistan up to some portions of Afghanistan. The rule of Bindusara. Bindusara is the son of the king Chandragupta. During his period of rule, he expanded his empire from east to west of the northern part to the central and southern regions of India. But Bindusara was not able to conquer the unexplored tribal and forested regions which is near Kalinga. The capital of the Mauryan Empire was Pataliputra. So, the Mauryan Empire had its capital city at Pataliputra. And Kalinga is now at present at Odisha. The reign of Ashoka, that is the period of the king Ashoka. King Ashoka is the son of Bindusara. Ashoka decided to defeat Kalinga. So, he waged a severe war over the Kalinga Empire in the year 2061 BCE. Ashoka was successful in defeating the army of Kalinga, but there was a very heavy loss of life in both the sides during this war. That is, there was a heavy damage. Many people lost their life and many people were injured. It is also said that more than 1 lakh people were dead during this war. The water of the Daya river, which is running next to the battlefield, turned red due to the blood of those who were killed during the war. The incident that took place after the battle. After the Battle of Kalinga, Ashoka was really depressed on seeing the people who were dead and wounded. Ashoka was emotionally affected. So, he changed his mind to put an end to the war. He also started to spread the message of peaceful coexistence, which is called as Dhamma. That is, he started to spread the message among the people to be peaceful and friendly with each other. And this message, which was spread by him, were called as Dhamma. The important messages of Dhamma were, that is, the highlights of Dhamma are: be kind to everyone, including animals. Treat all human beings, whether they are elder or younger, treat everyone with equal respect. Follow the path of non-violence. Non-violence means there should not be any fight among the people. Respect all religion. Denounce expensive rituals and live a simple life. That is, we should stop performing expensive ceremonies. That is, religious ceremonies are called as rituals, and we should live a simple life. King Ashoka also sent out messengers in order to spread the Dhamma. Dhamma we have already studied. Dhamma are the instructions or the messages which is spread out to among the people in order to lead a peaceful and harmonious life. These messengers who spread the Dhamma were called as Dhamma Mahamatas. These Dhammas were also inscribed on rocks and pillars to ensure that they remained etched for future. That is, the Dhammas, the instructions of Ashoka were inscribed. Inscribed means it is carved on the rocks and pillars in order to be there permanently so that it will be useful for others to read in the future. The edicts of Ashoka. The edicts of Ashoka are found throughout the Indian subcontinent. Edicts means it is a command or instruction which is given by someone in authority. So these edicts of Ashoka were set in stones. That is, we have already studied that they are carved in stones so that it will be useful in the future. These inscriptions reflect Ashoka's belief in the Buddhist concept of Dharma and his effort to develop the Dharma throughout his kingdom. So, from these inscriptions, that is, from the sayings of Ashoka, it is clearly visible that Ashoka believed in the concept of Dharma, which is followed in Buddhism, and his effort to develop the Dharma throughout his kingdom. The Mauryan administration. The Mauryan Empire was vast, that is, it was very big, and it was necessary to have a sound administration to manage the people of such a vast kingdom. So, administration means it is the management of public welfare or the government. So, in order to rule the vast kingdom and also to protect the people and take the responsibility of taking care over the people, a system of administration is required. And now let us see the Mauryan administration. The administration was organized and it was believed to be based on the guidance of Chanakya. The political setup. The king was the supreme power. He was advised by his ministers known as the Mantri Parishad. So, during making an important decision, the king makes a discussion with his ministers, and on the advice of his ministers, that is the Mantri Parishad, he makes the important judgments. The provinces. The empire was divided into several provinces, and there was a separate head to take in charge and to rule over those provinces. So each province had an head, and these head were from the royal family of the prince, and they were called as Kumars. The judiciary. The king was the supreme judge. There were also lower courts and panchayats at the lower levels. The public, that is a common man, can himself call the king and he can tell his problems to the king and ask the king to give a proper judgment. Revenue collection. Officials were appointed to collect tax. They were given a fixed salary. Taxes were collected from farmers, craftspersons, traders, and herders. They were empowered and to even punish those who did not pay or disobey the rules. Public works. The king spent a lot of money on development and providing facilities for the people. That is like laying roads, digging wells, and also build rest houses for travelers. He also takes care that agriculture is being prospered during his period. Religious transformation. Ashoka believed that all religions should be respected and no one should cast any aspersions on anyone's belief and faith. That is, Ashoka spread the message that all religions are equal and no religion is inferior to other. Thus, the Mauryan Empire is considered to be the one of the most significant period in the Indian history. The period of Mauryan Empire is also known as the golden period of Indian history. The lion capital of Ashoka at Sarnath is now adapted as the emblem of India. The Mauryan Empire was perhaps the largest empire to rule the Indian subcontinent until the arrival of the British. So, this Mauryan Empire is said to be the largest empire to rule the Indian subcontinent until the arrival of the British. The decline of the Mauryan Empire began 50 years after Ashoka's rule ended, and Mauryan Empire was dissolved in 185 BCE, after which came the Sunga dynasty in Magadha. So, in this lesson, we studied about the Alexander's effort to conquer India, the Mauryan Empire, the period of Chandragupta Maurya, the rule of Bindusara, and also the period of Ashoka. During the period of Ashoka, we studied about the Battle of Kalinga and also the incident which took place after the Battle of Kalinga. We also studied about the edicts of Ashoka and the Mauryan administration. That is the responsibility of managing the public affairs. So, children, we have completed the lesson. That is, we have seen the overview of the lesson, and from this lesson, you will be asked only the 1 marks, which includes choose the correct answer, fill up, and state true or false. And you will not have the 2-mark questions and the detailed question. So, in this lesson, you will be asked only the 1 marks. Okay, children, go through the lesson and write the answers for the 1-word questions in your book. The answers are given in the PDF. Enjoy learning. Thank you.